Squeaky's on the windowsill, king of the throne. Charlie's got a feather toy, she's in her zone. Doobie's in the kitchen, knocking stuff down. 3 cats ruling this crazy little town.
Hi guys, how you doing today? That loot video. Sorry, I'm trying to find something. Me and Pam do the same thing. We're always trying to find something to prop you up on. The loot video was basically a bonus video because I promised Pam she could see everything. Haha, you didn't get to see it all. Oh, I was playing. I realized when I had explained my photographs at the end of my video yesterday, like a bunch of them were cut off, and I don't know if that was editing from me or if YouTube did it because I said I didn't have permission from my daughter yet. But okay, my uncle is probably not very aware of my vlog. So, because he's like 81, and my dad is married to my mom. So if I have pictures of him, basically she gives me permission to put it up. So I think the issue may have been YouTube said, oh, you don't have permission from these people. You can't use those pictures. I basically do. So I will add those pictures in again of the people, not the jewelry I made. Ooh. Do that with this color. So I'll have to add those in again today. And YouTube, I have permission. I found out what candle wicking is for. It's softer. It's the same kind of weight as, say, this stuff. And that's a new project. It's a surprise. But I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be, but I'll show you the stitch. It's close to the one that I was making before for my sleeves. However, this one uses double crochet instead of triple crochet. And I could use that hook for that. I'll put it in here so that it doesn't get coffee spilt on it, because I'm having my 1 cup of coffee a day. So you know what? I am going to limit myself. I said I'm going to quit, and eventually I probably will. Then Dad gives me another thing of really good tasting, almost, it's Nescafe. And that is, I've said before, Juan Valdez, the gold colored one, is like premium instant coffee. Well, this is Nescafe, and it's like a step down. Like, oh. So I'm like, I'm going to limit myself to a cup a day. And Pam was right. Slow down. Don't drink it all the time. Okay, candle wicking is, yes, for making wicks for candles. Duh, that's the name of it, right? You can use it to make textured stitches in embroidery as well. Or, in my case, make soft things for crochet. I think I'm going to make me a network. I'm going to make me a pink necklace right now. I have, if you see her, is she behind me right there? There's my mannequin. I have people that play with Barbie dolls. I also, let me see if okay. I also have 2 of these books. I also have the people that in 2 months that play with Barbie dolls having a birthday. I have 2 months to get some of those done. I don't have an excuse not to. I have a month to get Pam's done. I don't have an excuse not to. So I'm working on it. Except for hands, you know, they're a little arthritic today. Tiny work. Where is that project? I just put it. Oh, I sacrificed one of my pint things for this purpose. Because these are gifts. Oh, I stuck a sticker on it. That would be cute. If I could just glue one of those on there. That would be cute. She'd like that. But we're not going to do that. I'm going to see if I can pull it through. And what I do with it like this, if it comes through the hole, is do this and then close it on it anyway when I'm working with the project. And I put my hook with it and it'll feed through this hole and the yarn is protected. I have the yarn for this project, like I said, surprise, in a plastic bag, because I was going to do that with that container, but the ball of yarn that I'm using right now is just a little too fat and it wouldn't feed through very easily. So, and rather than have it rolling around and getting, and I'm going to show you this. This is what I call, warning, this is a gross word and some people can't handle it. Do not listen to this word. This is what I call yarn barf. Because this is what happens when Aunt T gets creative and I want to make everything all at once. This is the ADHD part of me. I want to make everything all at once. And all of a sudden, I'm hyper focused on something, one project, and the rest of that is shoved out. And yes, it's in my bed. And it was in that plastic bag. And it's shoved over there so I have a place to sleep. But all those projects right there, I'm not doing them right now. And I'll take them apart and use them for something else. Probably for these projects. Like I said, that's the ADHD part of me. I don't want to do any of that now. That's out of my jurisdiction. So rather than my good projects that I know I have to do being a part of that pile, I separate them and put them with their hook in something. At least I'm a tiny bit organized. Where is that? Oh, I don't want that spilling. Mom and Dad gave me some yarn yesterday, too. They give me lots of stuff all the time. And I'll tell you something. Mom, I recognize we didn't stop for the food that I said I would provide for us yesterday. And thank you very much for the $20 that you spotted me for the big yard sale. That was very helpful, and I have lots of things to keep me occupied for a while. And I really need to... She had a dress on, that my mannequin, and I took the dress off to tear it apart because I wanted to see how the pieces were made. And I kind of sort of lost it. So she's naked, but she's just a mannequin. I mean, people will say, oh, that's a Barbie. It's not really even a Barbie. You know what it is? It's a Dollar Tree doll. And she happens to be black. That's the only doll they had were black ones. I don't have a problem with that. I said yesterday, if you border wild colors in black, it's beautiful. I saw a lady one time and she was about her color And she had on this like shimmering, almost turquoise, it was like just as the colors of my butterflies on that skirt. Blue eyeshadow. That looked so gorgeous on her. Oh, and then, you know what? I'm so jealous. They can wear neon green. They can wear the orange. They can wear the yellows. Those color, I love those colors. They make me look sick. But they look gorgeous on somebody with that skin tone. They look gorgeous on them. I did wash my clothing, and I scooted my curtain over, and they're now drying as a privacy curtain. And over there too. Why not? Functional for a few things. And they can dry right there and stay right there. I'll probably move those because they're at the end of my bed, and my feet will get tangled in them when I sleep. But when they're dry, I'll move them over behind the white dresser. Ooh, over behind there where that white dresser is. That way I don't have to look in. I'm gotta close that curtain because that is open like that. There. Now it's open like that on the other side, but the sun's not coming in my eyeball. But what I do with things like that, here, maybe you can peek it through. Over there, that white. But it's open. But it's open because I have a lot of clothes that I took down and never put back up over there. I just folded them up and put them in my dresser. Now these hang-up clothes, all of these clothes are hang-up clothes. Except, well, there's 2 nightgowns and a robe. But the robe, really, you know, I could wear that robe as a jacket. The robe could be hung up too because it's a longer one. But again, I can see when I walk past through there, and it doesn't make it into a room. And that's what I wanted, into a room, even though nobody's using that room, and that's why it's all, well, the cats use it. But that's why it's all got my stuff shoved over there, because I don't have to look at it. And if I'm going to have piles and piles of stuff, I don't have to look at them. That's just the reality of it for me. I'm going to have piles of stuff. I'm just going to. I don't have to look at it. And I'm the only one that lives here. If there were other people living here, I would rearrange everything and probably have it cleaner and all that stuff. I'm the only one that has to live here. So, here is all of that. My mom, she's still trying to press me to write a book. And I'm like, I'm not going to write a book. But she says, I said something about, I just don't have the patience to write a book, to organize a book, to do this, to do that, to do another thing. She says, I don't know if I have the patience to listen to you talk so I can get one tip out of you. And I said, okay. Yesterday, when I was at the garage sale, I ran into a lady that I went to school with when I was in elementary school. She says, are you Terry? Because they used to call me Terry in elementary school. And I changed it to my given name when I went to high school because there was a bully and his name was Terry also. And I didn't want my homework mixed up with his, so I changed it to changed it to my given name, Tressa. It's like Bina and Sabrina. Her name is Sabrina, and it sounds weird. My name is Tressa, but it sounds weird to me to hear Terry now. They used to call. I'm named after my grandma, which I look like. And they used to call her Terry, but her name was Teresa. Anyway, I ran into her, and we were talking, we were catching up, that kind of stuff, and my brain froze. And I said to her, and my mom said this wasn't rude, because I asked her if it was rude, because I don't really know. I said, excuse me, I am very sorry. I have communication issues, and I don't know how to keep this conversation going. And she said, okay, and smiled and kind of looked a little awkward, but smiled and okay. And like I said, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, was that rude? And she said, no, it was not. So, again, I wasn't trying to be rude to her. I was trying to be polite and let her know I don't know what else to say to you. So, hello, Your Majesty. Chicken. Oh. So, when I was talking, oh, when I was talking about vermin in my house and bugs and stuff like that, my mom had put underneath my comments, and she clarified this for me yesterday. She put underneath my comments all sorts of herbs and stuff that'll get rid of them. And I said, Mom, those are poisonous to cats. And I said, I just can't have that. They will eat all of them. She says to me yesterday, she says, you can plant them in the yard. And I said, you're right. We had some of those apples from across the road. I had tested them and tasted them, and they taste okay. They taste like the sweeter side of a Granny Smith apple, because it hasn't frosted yet. But they tasted really good. However, I picked 6 of them thinking they were good ones without holes in them. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, if you have an apple that has a hole in it, it's got meat in it. That's all I have to say. You don't want them. Actually, nobody wants them. It's larva. And so I picked 6 of them, and I thought, okay, these are good. 3 of them had holes in them when we got in the sunlight, because this was early in the morning. This was 6 in the morning, and most of those do. There is no pesticides. There is nothing on that tree. It's a wild apple tree. So most of them are just food for other animals. You can pick through and get a few. So I took them. I thought, because I thought, oh, I don't have anything in case Alana gets hungry and we can't get to somewhere to get her to have something to eat. And so I picked those, and like the Lord provided. It's right across the road. I had this all in a video yesterday. I tried to upload it yesterday, and for like 12 hours it said you have 36 seconds left, and it just would not upload. And I had already deleted permanently maybe that's why. That is why. I'd already deleted permanently that off of my phone, so that's why it wouldn't upload, is because I deleted it. Duh. But I had deleted it and I couldn't bring it back to you. So I walked over to that apple tree and I picked one off and I tried one. And it was It was good. Another thing that I will do is before they get all sweet and yummy and stuff like that, there's no flavor in them at all. I will get them little teeny tiny green apples and put them in my freezer. And I will put them in my soup. Cut them up and put them in my soup. The reason I'll do that is because they have zero flavor to them, but there's no pesticides. They're very natural, organic, whatever. Pretty much no poison, except for they're on the side of the road, but not a main road. So pretty much no poison in them. And I'm going to add them to my food. You can't taste them, but it puts more nutrition in there for you. So, I don't know if I want those spaced out like that. I'm just doodling anyway. Let's see, what else do I have to say? I did do the yard sale. Alana, her amazing little mind. She has nowhere to store this. And had I been with her, I'd asked her if she had somewhere to store it before she purchased it. 2 big paper bags full of WWE wrestling cards. She's not into wrestling. She said, I found a Pokemon card in there. I'm like, you bought all of it for one Pokemon card? I didn't talk down to her like that, but I was just like, you bought all of that for one Pokemon card? Yeah. And it's a game. It's an entire game. So it impressed her that it was an entire game. So I understand that. She says, now I'm going to have to learn how to play that. And I said, honey, who are you going to play that with? I don't know. So I've mentioned before that she goes to workshop in town. And I said, do you think maybe your friend Tim in workshop would like to learn how to play that game with you? Maybe he would. She says, I could take that to workshop. Because they have all sorts of games and fidgets, and they have places they can volunteer in the back to tear buttons off and shred things and that kind of stuff. She is not allowed to tell me what they shred. So it's confidential stuff. But, so they have jobs for people to do that. But so mainly it's kind of like an adult daycare where they can go and hang out with other like adults, with different capabilities and play games and be accepted and just hang out, So I says, because she's always talking about her friend Tim. Tim has a Tim has a girlfriend, excuse me. Tim has a girlfriend, and she's friends with both of them. Whatever, she's not interested in him. They're just friends. And, so anyway, she says, I could take that to workshop and we could learn that game. I said, other people might be interested in WWE too. She said, when we play bingo, those cards could be somebody's prize. She says, wonder if I could trade some of those cards for some of the Pokemon cards they have there. I said, honey, they have those Pokemon cards for everyone to enjoy. And she said, yeah, that's true. She says, everyone could enjoy my card game too. My mom looked at her and says, Alana May, because her middle name's May, like mine. She said, I like the way your mind works. You have all of these cards and you figured out what to do with them. Good on you. We don't say good for you. We don't say good job. We say good on you. It's just a thing. going back to the video and trying to sift through to get the information, I told my mom, I said, I'm alone. And I told her why I watched ASMR. And she says, oh, you know, because I said, and I have 135 people that listen to me or at least subscribe to me. I said, I don't know why they come and listen to me. She says, maybe you're the only person they get to talk to during the day, too. And I said, well, I did start doing this for my friends and my family that couldn't see me on a daily basis but wanted to. And she says, maybe you're the only person some of these people get to see every day, too. So it kind of clicked in her head. Kind of why I'm here. Pam told me she likes it because she feels like I'm visiting her every day. And yay, awesome. That stitch very hard to do. It's a bobble stitch. I believe it's called a bobble stitch. I hear them geese. Maybe that's a chicken. Could be a chicken. Sometimes they're out there just wailing away. And they having eggs. Making eggs. Anyway, this is the same stitch I used yesterday for that necklace. Just a knot in the row. Communication issue. Brain stop. Here's the reason why I'm making these out of yarn. I find glass beads and plastic beads, the glass ones, all of those are gorgeous, okay? And I know this might look a little cheap, but when I get them on, the little hairs on my neck gets pulled by them. And it bothers me. And you know I have sensory issues. This, I can't even feel it there. I don't even know it's there. And it'll make a nice bracelet, too, if I wanted to wear a bracelet. See? So, that's why I got the idea of making my own necklaces out of crochet. And, oh, there's another one I could be doing. And I'm going to do it. Ha-ha! Forgot about that one. Get off of me. Who do you think you are? There is one that looks like flowers. And they do it into a choker, but I don't do chokers because it just doesn't sit right. It makes my face look like a square. So let me see if I can find that pattern. Is my tablet? Let me find that. My tablet happens to be unavailable at the moment. Here it is, guys, the flower choker right there. I'm going to probably have to crop this so you can just see the choker, but there it is. Woohoo! I got that. And I realized I could use the microphone. Well, I didn't realize that just this minute because I had looked at it when I was doing a screen. Oh, that's not I sit here gonna try to crochet with this. I'm like, oh, I guess that's not my slip knot. I'd seen it before that I could take a screen recording and use the mic, but I never did it because I'm like, there was no circumstance before to do that. But this time I did. So anyway, that's the flower choker, but I have it memorized. Oh, yeah, you gotta do it all the way. I tend to count when I'm doing this. Let me do my foundation row. Actually, I'm not probably gonna do this crochet because when I crochet, I stop and count. There are pauses. It's weird. My mom, again, is a little bit critical of my videos. No, I understand. Mom and dad's generation are that. So I'm not complaining. I'm trying to accommodate. I'm not complaining about them being critical because that's how they were raised. That is how they were raised. So, and at their age, there's no room for change. Again, there's no room for change at their age, but at my age, there is. So I will accommodate or try, but I'm not writing a book. Because, like, in a book, can you hear my beautiful laughter? No. I got a Vogue magazine in the mail. Me and Vogue, yeah. But what I do with Vogue magazines, oh, I have it in there because I don't want to lose it, is I don't look at the magazine. I don't read the magazine. Sometimes I take the pictures and cut them up and try to make beads out of them. But that's something I want to get. But what I do is I get perfume samples. That picture, that's a picture. And I put them in a little baggie sometimes with a one of those isopropyl pads. Like I'll cut these into strips and put it in with isopropyl pads and have perfume. And I learned that from Extreme Cheapskate Skates. Sorry, but how much does this cost? What is it? Vanilla Nude Lancome. How much does that cost? How about this one? I want to say Meow Meow. Or Libra. This is Libre. How much does that cost? So if I cut this into like 4 or 5, maybe even 10 little strips, I've got 10 uses of that perfume. Or 5. This one, Dior. Let me see, is this the one? That one smells okay. This one, this Dior one, it smells like the Blanche Devereaux section of a church pew in the back where they put the bad people. It smells like the ones that are there just to be good with God, just because they've done bad during the week. That's another photograph. Jade's an adult. Here is mom and dad and Alana. Alana was probably 16, 17. And my daughter Jade. And see? There's my mom and dad. Um, so anyway, and sometimes you could get those magazines like for a 2 year. I don't know. I've been getting those for like 7 or 8 years at mom and dad's house. They're like, where do these keep coming from? I'm like, I don't know. I haven't used your address for many, many years. I'm sorry, I just can't leave the yarn alone. But sometimes you could get a free subscription of them, and so, like I said, if you're on a budget like me and you want to smell expensive, there's nothing wrong with it. There's still perfume in that. Like that stinky one. Do you see all the perfume on that strip? All of that. And all that perfume is scent mixed with alcohol. Again, I learned that from Extreme Cheapskate. Some of that stuff is way off, wild, like saving newspaper to wipe your butt with and that kind of stuff. That's just, I will not do that. Some people might be that desperate, and I might get that desperate. That's a good idea because you can wad it up. You can wad newspapers up until it's soft like that. You can do that with a piece of writing paper too. However, if you do that, don't flush it down your toilet because you're going to clog your septic system up if you have a septic system. And if you're in a sewer system, they don't enjoy that. The city does not enjoy that. So yeah, people look at those guys, and they laugh at them, and they're like, blah, blah, blah. Some of their ideas are very good. The one woman that did that with the newspaper was also wadding it up and shoving it in her walls. Why not? They shred it up and spray it in your walls. Professionals do. And these walls here have basically, this one back here that Dad and I built has it. Because if we go around the back, my neighbor always uses pink. Pink insulation. But these walls have nothing in them. If you're in a trailer like that, they have nothing in them. That's why it's always cold. So shoving newspaper in there, why not? I had contemplated all the packing that I get from Amazon and all that, like those big boxes for electronics and things that have styrofoam, opening my walls and shoving the styrofoam in it. And some of the cardboard boxes. So I've contemplated it. Hi, Squeaky, you need your mommy again? You hand a boy? You good boy. He's over there licking himself and staring at me. Licking his back, not his backside. Because that would be weird. Mom. I'd be like, get out of here, you creep. Weirdo. Oh. And also, unplugging all of my appliances. I originally learned that from Extreme Cheapskates Skates too, because she would save a couple of cents a month on electricity by unplugging it. However, it has dual purpose in my life. I've stated many times before, this is old and the wiring is shoddy. And because of my piles and stuff in here, and the fact that I have no money, I can't get an electrician in here. Silly electricity is a little wonky and weird. and I have to accommodate for that. So unplugging everything makes it so I don't have electricity surges. And like I said, yeah, some of those things are way off the wall, like saving this and saving that, and there's no need in the world for you to do that. But the ingenuity of a lot of that stuff is like, wow. I mean, okay, I don't understand how that's to be laughed at. It makes sense. Let's see, is this gonna fit around my neck yet? No. That's a real choker. Oh. Tick, 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 tick. So I think next year what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these herbs my mom had told me to get. And I am going to plant them around my yard, at least around my porch. And since my yard goes wild anyway, they'll grow wild in it. It could be a choker that way, but I don't want it a choker. I want it a little bit looser just so it hangs a little bit and not hooked up in my turkey neck. Because who cares, honestly, if there's a wild cat out there and they're eating the herbs in my yard? Who cares? That sounds mean, but I have enough mouths to worry about. And maybe if it's a stray animal that's been there a long time and it's that hungry, it needs help going to God. And not that I'm going to go, here, kitty, kitty, eat this and die. Just, that's not my fault. It's not my responsibility. Charlie, I don't know what your weirdo reaction to everything like that is, so. Another thing I like about these is I don't have to worry about if the clasp is going to open. Yep, that'll work. Because I can just do this and crochet it closed and it won't open and I won't be losing beads. Let's see, what was I supposed to do next? I need to find that pattern. Okay, I figured out. She just had to show me the beginning and now I can go with it. I don't remember where I was going with what conversation right now. Communication issues, Tressa. Oh yeah, I was just showing that I didn't have to have a clasp to close it. I won't be losing beads because there are no beads. I'm creating the beads. What I might do is continue this necklace. And then I will come back to you and show it to you. I said I'd gotten some stuff from Mom and Dad too. I showed you the ribbons yesterday. And, oh, I don't know what they were doing with that. But I'm not sure. I have other looms. Get out of there. You need all the pegs, for one thing, if you're going to make a hat. This is the size for about a child. But this is a knitting loom. You can learn it if you want to. I also got mist tone. Ew, what is it? Oh, it's just paper. 2 brand new rolls of this. That's another reason. You saw that pile? That's another reason. I have no reason in the world not to make absolutely everything in that Barbie book. I got this pink yarn, which, with these acrylics, I was thinking, I'm always saying, it's plastic. Tear them apart like I usually do and make my necklaces out of them. Necklaces are plastic, right? And then this one, you're supposed to, in the 90s, they had these weird scarves. And I'll show you the picture. It's kind of hard to see. Anyway, they look like elongated lays rather than around your neck. I'll show you the picture, but I don't know if it'll focus. And you used this stuff for it, but I look at that stuff and you can open it up and it's a mesh. You crochet those together and you got a tank top to go over top of something. You can make fishnet gloves, all sorts of stuff with that. So if you were to put a slip knot in this, it would basically come out as, because the knot's there, kind of like a sling or a bag. So you can't, you could. There's no reason you can't. And I could take my giant hook and have something made out of a strip like that. So it would be like a very super chunky yarn if I did that. But this is used for a different reason. That's why it's in a mesh already. But I can figure out something else to do with it. And then she gave me, I'm not afraid of showing my underwear on here, you know that. She gave me these bras. I said, Mom, is that so I don't have to cut up panties? She said, no, they just don't have the size she needs. I said, I understand that. I says, where'd you get them? She said, Temu. I said, oh, that's why. For one thing, Temu is used to measuring Chinese people. Chinese people are a different proportion than American people. They don't have giant feet. They don't have giant features. And she says, you're right. They're notorious for having smaller sizes of everything, but saying it's a large or an extra large, where in reality it's probably a medium. So that was my mom and dad haul yesterday. I got this in the mail, and it is promoting CBD. And all it says is go to our website and use this code. How much do I get off of that? 30%. I'll go to your website in a minute, see what I can get. If I'm going to get anything, I'm going to check it out. Yeah. Sorry. I had mentioned yesterday about how my way of life with paganism and that kind of stuff didn't fit how I feel now and why I went Christian. And the reason is I was using that. My sisters that do practice now may have other reasons. And I do love you both still, and I did not abandon you. There is a lot of good with those beliefs. As in, we were put here to take care of the masterpiece that God gave us, the earth, the animals, the other people. In those beliefs is where we practice. In my mind, I said I was a witch. I said I was a witch. I was a witch. Because I was angry. I was a very angry person. Very angry person. And what do you do to make people leave you alone? You threaten them. I'm a witch. Do you want to do that to me? Do you really want to do that to me? I'm a witch. So I was using it as protection to guard myself. Because if somebody's a witch, you don't want to mess with them. Ooh, you're one of those. I told Pam the other day, I says, if that boy isn't nice, he's going to see my angry face. And I go at her and I go, I can't even do that right anymore either. I don't have the anger within me to show that. I mean, to just show it. It was all the time my face was like, but I can't even do that now and look at myself and say, you look angry. You look like you're trying to be angry. So, again, my sisters that do practice that, I did not abandon you. I love you. I love your way. I accept everything about you still. And I'm not going to sit there and thump you in the head with a Bible. I'm not going to sit there and preach at you, and I'm not going to make you try to believe the way I believe. If you do go that way, I'll accept you as well. I have always said, and when I was a pagan and my sister went Christian, I said to her, I don't believe the way you believe, but since that is the way you believe, I will accept it because that is part of you. If you do not accept a person, the whole picture, everything, then you don't accept that person. I like you, but. No, there should not be a but in there. There should not be a but in there. If you accept that person, you accept everything about them. And here's another thing. My mom was on Quora. Just a minute. I'm going to take a bite. Somebody said, I am about to marry this man, and I just found out he's tier 1. I don't know now if I want to marry him. You're going to marry this guy, and you just found this out, right? Were you in love with him before you heard that word? Obviously, because you're engaged. So, if that was taken off the table, that word was never ever spoken, would you go through the wedding, through with the wedding? And if you still say, I'm not sure, maybe he's just not the right person for you. But if you say, heck yeah, I love the heck out of him. Take the word out of it and love the heck out of him. My mom told them, my husband is, and there's not that diagnosis with me. And we've been married for over 50 years. 52 years, probably. No, let's see. 50, 57 years. We've been married for 57 years. We just live together and love each other. So that's what I say is if that word was just never in, just throw that word out. Just get rid of that diagnosis, throw that out and look at the person and say, and think, do you love them? If you didn't know that word was there, would you go through with the wedding? If you say heck yes, that's the person for you. This is what I mean. And yep, there's that. It actually almost looks like another woman's body part. My V-neck. And that's another reason I didn't want it tight against it. I want it a little bit longer, so I'm going to have to take that part apart and crochet a little longer. But a necklace. Why not? Why not? I was thinking about never being able to remember what I'm thinking about. But I was also thinking if I took 3 of these and did the earring idea and had them hang down, maybe in a different color, maybe black or white or maybe silver or something. They make silver. The one thing I found out with most of the ones that are have sparkle in them, most of them. There's one that I found that isn't like this, but most of these 10 weight little tiny strings like this, if it's got sparkle in it, it's scratchy, like dishes scrubbies, like. So, this would make a really cool collar for a t-shirt too, if you're upcycling. So I would get ones, there is one that I have. I could stick that, hey, it sticks up there from the glue I had on it. This copper brown, it's got a sheen to it, whereas, and even this green has like a sheen to it, whereas this white actually kind of does too. They just feel better, different, whatever. I can get different yarns to play with for that kind of project. But you know what? For me, being neurodivergent, and that's what I'm going to call it from now on instead of suspected autism, neurodivergent, I can't feel that. It's there. It makes me feel pretty, but I can't feel it. I think another thing that I have wrong is it's twisted a little. I twisted it when I was putting it together. When you're putting long strings together, you have to match it up and it'll make a loop. However, if you match it this way, it makes a loop and you're trying to crochet and you end up with some that don't, like this. They're turned differently than here, which in the back it's not going to make a big difference, because if it's in the back it's not going to make a big difference. But if it's like accidentally slides to the front, you're going to see it. Now with this, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to pin it to a big piece of styrofoam that I have. You guys all know I've got styrofoam, but I have to find my pins. I have some somewhere. And paint Mod Podge on it, because there's Mod Podge with glitter in it. But since I also have glitter, the Mod Podge glitter is more expensive than the Mod Podge, but you can always add glitter to the regular Mod Podge. So I'll have to find one or the other, and I'll do that and make it sparkly. Actually, if I stand up straight like I usually do, it isn't a choker like I thought it would. It doesn't cut my neck off the way I thought it did, because I was just sitting like this and I was slouching. But actually, it really doesn't look that bad. And that's the flower choker that she. So I'm gonna go look for my Mod Podge. I wonder how long this video is too, because if I do that project, let it dry and stuff like that, come back to you later. I couldn't find my Mod Podge, but at a resale shop for like, I don't know, maybe $1, there was this stuff, mosaic tile adhesive, and it dries clear. And I thought to myself, well, if it dries clear, and if it dries, then it's not going to be tacky when it does dry. And that's what I want. Something that's going to glue glitter on that's clear, right? Because I want the color of the pink on that necklace to come through. So I did that. I took this pill bottle top and I mixed it together with, it happened to be a green one, but I know when I used this in the acrylic to make my ergonomic hooks, they didn't come out that color, they just came out sparkly. That's just cheap glitter I think I got at the Dollar Tree. And now this is tacked down with sewing needles, because at the time I couldn't find that either. But when Alana moved out, I swear I found 50 kits with these in it. So I'm like, if I lose a few, I lose a few. And let's see. Hey. No, it's not being blocked because I want it to be able to hang. And when that dries, I'll come back and I'll show it on me. I did notice that there is a twist in it. And I twisted it here so that I could put it. So I will have to detach it from here and untwist it and reattach it. But, okay, be back. And suddenly, beadwork. I was going through my crafty stuff, looking for my Mod Podge, and I found these beads, and I sewed them on individually. I was sewing them on, and the reason I brought it outside is because ultimately people are going to see it outside. But I was sewing it on and I thought, oh, that glitter is going to be itchy. I can't feel it. And I feel the backside of the material. So I believe I'm going to go ahead and make earrings and a bracelet to match. And I'm going to go. So I'm going to say, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.